It bothers me how a lot of kids don't like learning. They say they hate school, they don't realize why they have to go. And ever since I was in high school, I realized it could be a lot better. My name is Hibbert. I'm the executive director here at the Buffalo Academy of Scholars. I'm from Buffalo, been in Buffalo my whole life, and I am a huge advocate of education, formal and informal.
Hi, I'm Jessica Cody. I am the English teacher here at the Academy. I got my master's degree in special education and gifted education at St. Bonaventure University.
Stephen Kelly, and I teach social studies here at the Academy. So I teach Global 1, Global 2, U.S. History, Government, Economics, also part-time phys ed teacher.
My name is Mrs. Polly. I teach earth science and I teach health. I taught art earlier in the year, and I teach engineering physics.
Well, I'm Matt Lardo. I am a science teacher here. I also help out with math and phys ed. I grew up in the area. I went to Hamburg High School.
I was drawn to the Academy because of the fact that the school really focuses on the individual student.
So if you're a parent, imagine, okay, you have 2 kids or 3 kids or 4 kids in your family. Now imagine you have 14 or 15 and you have to corral them to do the same thing at the same time all day long. That's what teachers have to do. It's extremely difficult and people take that for granted. I'm a big believer that the most natural size of groups to do anything is pretty small. Like you can typically count them on one hand or maybe 2. And I think a classroom should be that size too. So that's what we do here.
I think the number one thing that distinguishes us from everyone else is one teacher is not seeing over 100 students every single day, because you really get to know your students. You see them in your classes, you see them outside, because we're so involved in the students, like every part of their day here.
I always joke around because at the end of the class I say something like, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and then they all laugh and say, I'll see you probably in a few seconds when you walk out the door. So you really get to develop a nice relationship with the students. Most of these kids adapt really well to having a small environment. At first it's kind of like kind of a shock for them, but we kind of become like a very close-knit family, and everyone gets to know each other very well.
So here at the Academy I was really drawn to that individualized focus on the needs of the students, and by having that one-on-one or that individualized attention, we've really been able to help the students grow and develop in ways that weren't possible for them in other locations.
You build a much stronger relationship with them compared to in a public school where you're lucky you know everyone's name. We can focus on one student and discuss as a faculty all of the time what they're struggling with, what their strengths are, how we can help them, what we can help them do to get to their goals. Like, we really take a lot of time to analyze that, and I think that's something that all the other schools are severely lacking.
I think one of the biggest problems with education is that we force every kid to do the exact same thing, generally in the same order, for the same amount of time. I think the way the curriculum is designed is completely backwards. It's top-down, the way it's currently designed, and it should be bottom-up. You should start with the student and say, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are your needs, what are your goals, and let's develop something around who you are. Put any 2 kids in a room. They could be siblings, they could be complete strangers. You will find very quickly that they are extremely different. They're extremely different. And so when you start to take 10, 30, 100, 1,000 kids and design a process of educating them and preparing them for life, it should look very different for every single one of those kids. They shouldn't all be doing exactly the same thing, just like we're not going to send them into the same exact job, 1,000 different people. They're all gonna have different jobs, and they're gonna need different skills.
One of the really unique things about the Academy and my freedom here as a teacher is that I can have the students pick the texts that they want to read, and they have much more choice in how they demonstrate their learning to me.
So it's much more student-driven. I kind of give them the bare bones of things, and what the basics of what they need to know, and if we want to build on that, it's basically up to them how much and how in depth we go into a certain topic.
We can find what a student likes and make a class into that. We have a marine biology class this year, and it came about because one of the students really likes going deep sea fishing and the other one really likes sea turtles. And we're like, hey, you like fishing, you like turtles, let's make that into a science class next year. They both said, let's do it. And it's just cool that we can have that process where a student can say an interest and we can find a way to customize that right into their education. So they have something that they're passionate about in the classroom.
I've also been able to do much more individualized assessments and having students talk through things with me rather than have a standard written test, because in a class of 30 it's very hard for the teacher to walk up to each student in a period to assess them. And here, when I have a few students, I can just sit down with them and have a conversation and see what they know. And when they're comfortable talking and communicating rather than writing, if I'm not assessing writing and I'm assessing their understanding of literature, it offers much more diverse assessment capabilities here than in other locations. One student I've worked closely with is Nina. She is actually graduating this year. She and I talked about how we could get 2 English credits in the 1 year. So she worked really hard the first half of the school year with me doing a more traditional education program twice a day for English, where we would work towards the Regents exam that she took in January. And now in her senior English, we've given her much more freedom. She's had control over what she's doing. And we have done a lot of independent studies where she's been able to pick the subject that she wanted to learn about, such as comparing film and literature. And she studied that with my guidance and basically led her own learning. And she's really enjoyed this ability to kind of grasp control of her own education and learning. And I'm still able to address the standards that are required in a standard classroom.
I'm Jordan Tasker. I'm the first graduate of the Academy. Middle school is where my kind of education career went on a downward spiral. I was always getting in fights with teachers, conflicts. I wasn't doing well, I was failing, I wasn't doing well in classes. You know, I was just very against everybody because it felt like everybody was against me. And that's where I started to fall down this rabbit hole of just failing and hating school and hating teachers and hating the system. And so I came here, and that's when the Academy kind of changed everything.
You know, you look at a kid like Jordan, he came to us depressed, thinking there was no point, to school, no point in showing up, no point in learning anything, and sort of no purpose to life in general. And we got him on the right path just by helping him. That's it, just taking an interest in who he is and building a curriculum around him and focusing on his needs and what was important to him.
Literally just yesterday, he was just talking about how he doesn't think he would have finished high school if he didn't have like myself and a couple of the other teachers. Like he was like, we were the reason that he continued high school. He said at Orchard Park he probably would have just dropped out.
You feel the support of everyone around you, and it inspires you and motivates you to succeed, and it, built this happiness inside of me that I didn't know I had before.
I was teaching Alex back when we were grades 5 through 12. I was teaching him middle school science, and we were focused on the respiration of various things. He had such a hard time accepting that plants need any gas whatsoever, first of all, and second of all, that they would need the opposite of what we would need. So we actually did a bell jar experiment. We made it airtight and put a plant in there. We talked about, okay, what would happen if you put something like us, like a mouse in there? What would happen? And the mouse would not be able to survive because it wouldn't be able to breathe eventually. Okay, what happens if you put a plant in there? And he was really resistant. He was like, okay, well, based on what you're telling me, this would happen. It would eventually die because it used up all the carbon dioxide. Basically, we looked at it theoretically in a bunch of different ways. And him writing out, like drawing what's happening and narrating it while it was happening, just really took off. He did so well, and he completely understood it then. And he was so excited. He actually wanted to show it to everyone. We went straight to the executive director, and we showed everyone. It was really cool, and he was so proud. So I feel like I definitely reached him that day.
The Academy really is a special place, and the value of this school has been tremendous. The impact that we've seen with these students has just been absolutely mind-blowing.
We've been working so hard to fundraise for this school. We've raised a good amount, but it's not enough.
Being a nonprofit, obviously we face problems that traditional schools don't face in terms of funding. So it's constantly a struggle for us. Not only do we have to teach, we have to help, with recruiting and have, shadow kids come and kind of show them. And we're kind of constantly struggling with the financials of being a nonprofit.
There's kids here that need a school like this. It's a place where they've found who they are as people. It's a place where they've found a way to learn in a fun environment that they want to actually be at. It's the first time they've been happy in a school since elementary school. For that to go away, I think would be just not a good thing for anyone. I've had students in the last couple of days say that they would be really, really heartbroken if the school shut down.
Securing some donations so that we can really, continue to do the good work that we're doing here would be really, really key to our success. All the teachers that work here, we're not here for the money. It's not about us. It's about helping these kids, and it's about helping them grow.
It's something that I really believe in, and I really think that other people, once they get this idea of our school, once they learn what we're all about, once they really see what we embody, I think they all will get on board too. And I really believe that we can do something great here.
The most inspiring thing is how much work and dedication the other teachers and also Alan have put into this place. They're always spending a lot of time talking about the students and how to help them. Alan in particular, he does all of this, and he has a second job, and he doesn't take a salary for all of the things that he does here. He does all of this for free.
Yeah. So why do I believe so strongly in what we're doing? Because I think life itself is naturally extremely fun and extremely exciting and full of so many opportunities. I think we have the power to change lives, and it's surprisingly easy, to be honest. You just care. That's not hard to do. So, yeah, that's why I do this.